What is going on, guys? It is Bonus Rex here, and today I have a gameplay commentary coming from the map Nuketown 2025 using the QBB LSW with Diamond Camo. Now, in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to get gold camo on your guns as quickly as possible, and then consequently get diamond camo on a certain tier of weapons. Now, in my opinion, the two easiest classes to get diamond camo for are either the light machine guns or the sniper rifles, just because there's the least amount of weapons in those two categories. Also, the sniper rifles, it's actually pretty easy to do because instead of getting headshots, you only have to get one-shot kills, even though you do have to get quite a bit more kills than you would than, let's say, using the light machine guns. So in this video, guys, I'm going to teach you the easiest ways of getting headshots, and from that getting gold camo. And pretty much my number one tip for you is on any class you're using to put on either an EOTech sight or a red dot sight. Doing this will allow you to aim a lot more accurately, and from that be able to get a lot more headshots. Now, my second tip for you guys is a bit more complicated, and so in order to do this, I want you guys to pick your favorite weapon in your favorite class, and then go into a custom game and just run around against a few bots and start using it. Because in order to do this, what I want you guys to do is test the recoil patterns of your guns, whether it sways to left or right, or whether it moves up and down. And from this, you're going to learn how to control your recoil on your gun, and pretty much you're going to be able to just aim for the head every single time. Because once you learn how a gun reacts when it's shooting with its recoil, you'll be able to control it much better, and you'll be able to get a lot more headshots. For example, the Scorpion Evo, when you shoot it, it has a very high rate of fire. So the gun is going to bounce up a lot when you're shooting. So instead of starting up at the head, where you're probably going to miss your opponent because your gun's going to spike upwards, you want to start probably chest, and from there, your gun is going to automatically move up to their head and probably end up getting you a lot of headshots. So that's probably my best tip for you guys right there, is to find the recoil patterns of your gun, and from that you'll be able to get a lot more headshots in addition with using a reticle or using a sight on your gun. Next, I would suggest that this is going to sound like an obvious tip, but as long as you aim for the head, you're going to get headshots. It takes a little bit of time to adjust aiming for the head, but once you actually start aiming for the head and only aiming for the head, then you're going to play much better and get 30 headshots per game like I do every game. Now, in order to do this, you're going to start to see yourself getting a lot more deaths and possibly your kill-death ratio dropping down a little bit, but if you want to get headshots and you want to get gold camo and diamond camo, then you're going to have to take that little bit of a decline in your kill-death ratio in order to do this. So, in order to do this, all I want you guys to do is to aim for the head. You put your thumbstick up where you see the enemy's head, and you just aim there and shoot. You never ever aim lower than the head. If you have the opportunity to kill a guy but you can't get a headshot on him, do not kill him. All I want you guys to do is aim for the head and kill guys that you know you'll get headshots on, because once you start doing this, it's going to start to get a lot easier for you guys to get headshots. You're going to get used to headshots, and you're going to get in the zone with headshots. Now, I'm going to talk about the different classes and the different guns that I think are the easiest and the hardest to get headshots with. So in the light machine gun tier, which is the one that I got all my diamond camos on, I would have to say that the LSAT and the QBB are incredibly easy to get headshots with. I probably got gold camo on those guns in 2 hours with each gun, just because it's so easy to get headshots with those guns. Same with the MK48. But then when I got to the hammer, I was having a bit more of a difficult time getting headshots, and it just, I don't know, it was hard getting used to the recoil on those guns. So I'm going to try and teach you guys how to get used to that on the hammer. And what I did with the hammer actually was just, I put on a sight first off, like I told you guys, and then I really tried my best to just play and get used to the recoil, because just like the Scorpion, it has a lot of upwards recoil, and so then once I started to get used to that, I was able to get headshots. Now within the submachine gun category, I would have to say that the Vector is actually the hardest to get headshots with. I think that's going to be surprising to a lot of you, but the MSMC, the Scorpion Evo, the MP7, and the PDW were all really easy to get headshots with, especially with submachine guns. I would suggest using the EOTech sight just because it offers a higher mobility rate on your guns, I think, than the red dot sight. I think it's better to rush around with, but also it's a lot bigger of a sight and it's easier to see the enemy's heads with, and I think it'll be easier to get headshots with. But I was having a little bit of trouble getting headshots with the Vector, and I still am, and I kind of gave up getting headshots with the Vector for a little while, and I'm going to actually go back to that because I want to get headshots with the Vector. And the thing I would actually suggest is not putting a sight on the Vector. That actually has a pretty decent iron sight, and I think the iron sight itself is good for getting headshots, so I would leave that alone. Now moving on to assault rifles. This category itself is difficult just because the amount of guns there are, and probably the most difficult gun I would have to say will be the SMR, just because it's not the greatest of guns and it's probably the most difficult to use. Once you get select fire on it, it's probably much better, but I don't really find it to be a good gun. I don't really have any Go Camo except for the FAL in this category because I don't really use assault rifles much, so I'm not really an expert in this. Now moving on to shotguns. It's pretty self-explanatory what you have to do for shotguns. All you have to do is get 250 one-hit kills, and then the challenges are the same as all other tiers from there. 250 one-hit kills, all you got to do is play like you normally do, and you're going to get it eventually. It's just about how you maneuver the map and how good of a player you are with the shotgun. And the thing that I would suggest using when you're going for this with shotguns is long barrel and laser sight, because laser sight allows you to be very accurate in long barrel. It increases both the damage on your gun and the range, and because you're not worried about headshots, I think this makes it a lot easier. Now moving on to the sniper rifles, it's the same exact thing as these shotguns. You have to get 250 one-shot kills, and I think this is actually pretty easy to do, except the only gun that's going to give you trouble with this category is the SVU. And two things that I would suggest are either going into hardcore mode, but that might be a little challenging because there is a respawn delay, or just toughening it out and seeing if you can do it. Really, what I would suggest doing with this is aiming for the head actually with the SVU, because then no matter what, it will be a one-hit, one-kill, and that's what I would suggest doing. So guys, just to review, I would suggest using a sight on pretty much every single gun you're trying to get headshots with, either the EOTech or the red dot sight. A lot of people think the target finder is good, but I actually don't like the target finder for getting headshots. I would try to adjust to your gun's recoil patterns, and then lastly guys, just aim for the head. That sounds so easy, but all you got to do is just aim for the head. Don't kill anyone if you're not aiming for the head, and you guys will get those gold camos, and then you will get those diamond camos. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like or subscribe, and if you have any questions, be sure to leave down in the comments below. I will see you guys.